While aggression had some powerful cards, I would argue that no aspect in Spark of Rebellion has more power than the command aspect. Welcome to the Black Sun Syndicate, a division of the Kolat Information Network. I'm your host, Baylan Skoll, Mercenary for Hire. Today we're going to discuss my top cards from the command aspect from Spark of Rebellion. So this set is chock full of really good command cards. It's slightly skewed more toward the villainy side than it is to the heroic side, but they're all very good cards. We'll start here with the unassuming Super Laser Technician, aka DJ Death Star, dropping the beats and the laser on planets unassuming. A 3-drop 2/1 Imperial. When defeated, you may put this card into play as a resource and ready it. Again, it seems like a very unassuming character, but coming from other games, ramp, which is the term for pushing your resource output, increasing your number of resources you have so that you can play more cards or play bigger cards sooner, is it's referred to as ramp. In Magic, the original card that was that saw competitive play was a card called Rampant Growth. Hence, I think that's how the term ramp came to be about. Again, this doesn't look like much, but I promise you, you play this, your opponent does not want to challenge it or attack into it and get rid of it. And so you're typically going to run this into something or have some sort of damage effect that gets rid of it, so that you can get to your higher cost cards sooner. Next up is the better version of Mon Mothma. So Mon Mothma lets you do something very similar, but Grand Moff Tarkin here allows you to get look at the top 5 cards for 2 Imperials, reveal them, and draw them, and put the rest of them on your deck in any order. So Mon Mothma is a 2-cost 1/3, and Grand Moff is a 4-cost 2/3, but the difference is Mon Mothma only gets 1 character, 1 rebel, and Moff Tarkin gets 2. And this one is so much better than his rebel counterpart. I've played this card many times already, and the value on this thing is ridiculous. There's only one other card that's a draw 2 currently in this game. Okay, I take that back. There is a second one, but it only looks for vehicles. And then there is mission planning, which is choose a player, they draw 2 cards. Based on deck building, obviously, the one that can hit vehicles is pretty good if your deck is all vehicles, or mostly vehicles. Where this, you can almost guarantee that every character in your deck, or a majority of characters in deck, are Imperials without any problem. And so this is getting slammed on tables quite regularly. And even for a card from a starter deck, it is very good. The most expensive legendary in the game, Darth Vader. Went from being about a $50 card to pushing $90 here recently. Hyperspace versions are more than that. Hyperspace foils are more is 150 to 200. This card is amazing. 7 cost, 5/7. Force unit and an Imperial. Ambush. And when played, you get to search the top 10 cards for any villainy units. Combined cost 3 or less. Play each of them for free. Now, folks, most of the time, I say most of the time, you're going to play one character that costs 3 from your deck. I have, on occasion, put 2 into play because I needed a bigger board state. That was it. And that was Saturday. And it still didn't matter. That's how bad it was. But to me, there isn't a better 7-drop in the game. The one that I could make you an argument that's close is Count Dooku. Because he also does some very naughty things on the dark side. But yeah, if you're playing Command villainy, you need your Vaders. He's just that good. This is the other card that makes Command villainy overpowered. I would dare say that Overwhelming Barrage is in my top 3 cards power level for this set as an uncommon. Potentially with, and obviously Vader's one of them, but when you play an Overwhelming Barrage, on a decently sized character, and this takes out 2 to 3 characters and devastates an opponent's board state, it's very difficult to even dare come back. Now, I had a couple of situations where I played this and I took out 3 characters with it, but I was behind on this board state, and so even though I did that, it didn't catch me up enough, and I didn't draw a second copy, which would have caught me up, but it does swing games massively. And if you're in Command villainy, you better be running 3 of these. Alright, so let's go to Command Heroism. Battlefield Marine is a very unassuming card. But at the 2 cost, there is no 2 cost in the game that is a 3/3 base stats. He has the highest, so he's tied with several other units for the highest attack power, and he's tied with several units with the highest defense value, but no unit at 2 cost is a 3/3, period. Like I said, he's very unassuming for his cost, but he is very good. Rebel Assault. So up until this card was spoiled, and I think it was spoiled either a few days before the community celebration or at the community celebration, this is the card that allowed players to switch from Leia Red as the aggro deck to Sabine Green as the aggro deck. Because this gave Sabine the ability to have Leia's ability to attack with 2 units as a single action and buff both of them by 1 as a finisher. Now, you can run this in Leia in a Leia aggro deck. And the pump sometimes can be relevant to help finish off, but most of the time you're not going to play it. But this absolutely pushed Sabine Green into the best aggro deck currently. Again, action economy, where you can mess with your opponent's ability to break up your power, which was again another aspect that we took over from Star Wars Destiny. Being able to take action before that goes back to my opponent is very relevant. And again, these are nice ways to steal tempo from your opponent who thinks they have control. All right, this one is not quite at the power level of Darth Vader, only because this one doesn't come. This one doesn't have a 5/7 body attached. But what this is light side version of Ewing Reinforcement, 7 cost, search top 10 cards of your deck for up to 3 units with a combined cost of 7 or less and play each of them for free. Is pretty ridiculous. One deck that likes to run this main deck is this Casino Han deck that runs a bunch of 7 cost units, like Luke, Count Dooku, Mace Windu. Yes, I just named both light side and dark side cards. This card reads as combined cost of 7 or less. It means printed cost, not out of aspect cost. So yes, you can put them in your deck and you can play them with this card with no aspect penalty. That was a cute little trick I saw. It's very fun to do. But typically what this is it's a sideboard card for the aggro decks against the control decks, so that they can recoup from a board wipe, like Bombing Run or like Super Laser Blast. So it can just drop multiple units on the board or a very large unit to try to take over. Against the control decks, I would suggest multiple units. And this is fantastic as a recovery piece for them. Alright, so there's a few single command color cards. This is probably on both sideboards for 8 Villainy and Heroic. Consortium Star Viper is a 3/3/3 space unit. While you have initiative, this unit gains Restore 2. And the Restore 2 is the whole reason. The stats are fine. The whole reason you're running it is the Restore 2. And so, as an early drop to sort of stem the bleeding from aggro decks, you side this in. And you can even use this to take out a space unit with Restore 2 off your base and force them to either get rid of it or fear you restoring more off of it. The current Turbo Aggro lists are running the A-Wings and the Red 3s. Well, while the Star Viper is attacking them, neither of those two can take out the Star Viper. But the Star Viper can absolutely take those two out. Same thing with Wing Leader. So you can clear those space units off the board with this and restore, heal your base for 2. And so it is a fantastic sideboard card and one that will probably see play for a while. Alright, Steadfast Battalion. This is, I would say, the best non-unique 5-drop in the game. It's a 5/5 with Overwhelm. On attack, if you control your leader unit, you can give a unit +2/+2 at the end of the phase. So this is effectively a 7/7 if you have your leader out. This is a card that Boba Fett decks love because Boba Fett flips on 5. It's a 4/7. Most other decks cannot take it out. If your opponent, if you have this on the table and you flip out Boba, and your opponent flips out their leader, and their leader doesn't have at least 8 toughness, then Steadfast Battalion is going to immediately take out that that leader. And right now, the only 2 leaders that have more hit points than 7 are Darth Vader, who's a 5/8, Chewie, who I believe it either has 8 or 9 toughness, and then Emperor Palpatine that has 10. So this is actually a mirror breaker in the Boba Fett matchup. If you have this and Boba out, you can take out their leader without any question. But this can take out Luke in one swing, and most of the other ones have less toughness, so it's very easy to take out. Again, fantastic card. Probably going to see this one for a bit. I really like a lot of these units that have an extra ability while you have your leader out as a unit. And so I'm sort of torn between the other card, but ramp is so important for the control decks in this format, and even somewhat the mid-range decks, that I did include Resupply as the other card of the top 10. It simply lets you get another resource on the board. Now this one does not. You put this event into play as a resource. This ends up being exerted or exhausted, tapped, so you won't be able to use this one this turn. But obviously it ramps you up for the following turn. You can do some nice tricks with this in your Boba deck green lists, because you can play this and then take out a unit in an attack and exhaust Boba to ready a resource, so you actually can play another card that turn. Again, I think the reason green is so good is because it has a ramp card that both sides can play. It has an effective unit that nobody wants to take out if you're an opponent. If it stays on the field, it's not doing anybody any good, but as the villainy player, you're going to swing with the DJ Death Star into something and kill it as fast as possible, so that you can ramp up to your Vaders and your Super Star Destroyers. All right, guys. What do you think about list? Do you disagree with my choices? If you do, leave a comment down below on what you thought I got wrong or missed and why. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, no matter the game, there is no escape from the tiger.